Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's Element of the Ride here, and in today's video, I'm going to be explaining my thoughts on if you're afraid of coasters at Kings Island, how to work yourself up to getting on the bigger rides. So it'll start out small, and I'll suggest different roller coasters to work yourself up to get eventually to hopefully Orion. And just a quick announcement before I start the video. I know Cedar Point Winter Chill Out was this weekend. I did not have time to get tickets to go, so if you went, please let me know how it was, and yeah. So, now getting into the video. And so if you're afraid of roller coasters, Adventure Express is probably going to be the one you're going to want to start out with, because of its less intensity, and it has pretty good speed, but nothing near any of the big rides at Kings Island. So this is just gonna get you used to what roller coasters like. It's nothing big at all. There's 2 lift hills. I know my first time on this, I did not know about it, and I got really scared because I was very scared of roller coasters at the time. So this lift hill right here, you go up the lift hill. It's not even that big of a drop. You gain a little bit of speed, not much. Descending at lift hill just brings you back up to where the brakes are in the station, so you can get back to the station. So the second lift hill doesn't have a drop. It has like a couple feet drop, and that's it. It just like gives you speed to go into the station. And this drop, you go down just a little bit, and then you start turning. So it is not steep at all. You don't gain barely any speed at all. And you go by this tree. It is not a big drop, trust me. It kind of looks big on camera, but it's not in real life. And then you go into like some helixes, not really helix, but like a turn, and then you go into another turn. And it's just a really overall good ride. So if you want to start out, this is going to be the one to start out with. And if you're afraid of this one, then maybe go back to the kids area, because warm yourself up there, because this video is not going to include the kids roller coasters. So if you need to go back to the kids area, then go back to the kids area, and then start with Adventure Express. So moving on. Next up, in my opinion, would be Stunt Coaster. I know some people are afraid of launches, and that might steer you away from this one, but you really just have to build up the courage to do it. It's a great ride, and I think if you're starting out, you're really going to enjoy this ride. In fact, the launch is my favorite part of this ride. So if you're scared of the launch, and maybe if you find enough courage to get on the bat because you're that scared of the launch, then that would be your next option. But Stunt Coaster is very, very fun, and if you can just get the courage to get on that launch if you're scared of it, it's not really that bad. And I know I was very scared for my first time. It does scare you at first, but then once you're done with it, you're like, oh my goodness, that was so fun, let's do it again. And so that's why it's going to be the next roller coaster you should probably ride to get yourself into bigger rides. So moving on. Next up is the Bat, and this is what I would like to consider my first big roller coaster, because even though it's still kind of a family coaster, in my young eyes, it was not. And when I rode this, I was like very proud of myself for riding a quote-unquote big coaster, is what I called it. So this is very fun. It's the drop. It has 70-foot drop, so it's not really that big. I think it's around 70 feet. The restraints are comfortable when you're scared. It's an overall good starting off like big roller coaster ride. Like if you're starting off the bigger rides, this is going to be the one to do it. Like I said, Stunt Coaster has a launch, and if you're scared of that launch and you think you do well with hills better, then you might move on to Bat. I'm not sure. It really depends on what you believe is best for you. Launches or the Bat. Hill. It really depends on you, because all of us are different, and we all have different fears of roller coasters, and you just have to conquer them and move on to bigger rides. And speaking of moving on, we are going to our next roller coaster. Next up, I rode the Bat and the Racer, and it was because I was on my way to Mystic Timbers, and the Racer was right there. And believe it or not, the Racer has a smaller drop than Mystic Timbers. Wow. But the only thing that would deter you from this ride is its roughness. So if you are you don't think you're gonna like rough rides, then I would say go to Mystic Timbers before you ride the Racer, just to give you a better experience. And so then this was my next roller coaster, and then Mystic Timbers was the following. So next up is of course going to be Mystic Timbers. It has a 98-foot drop, which is a little bit taller than the Racers. This ride is about speed, and it is kind of twisty and turny and aggressive a little bit, but it is very fun. And if you were able to do the Bat or the Racer, you're gonna be able to do this. You may be scared of it, and you may not really want to get onto it, but trust me, if you do, you're gonna love it. And then once you ride this, you may think, oh, I should ride the Beast, which that is the next one, but I would prepare a little bit more, because I was like, oh my goodness, I love roller coasters, let me go ride the Beast. And right after Mystic Timbers, I was not ready for that. So if you're thinking about going to that, just prepare yourself a little bit more, maybe ride Mystic Timbers a couple times before you go onto the Beast, because the Beast is aggressive and it is a lot more rough than you could ever imagine, but it is an overall good coaster. And then next up, this is gonna be a bit of a thing where it's like, if you think you'll better with this, then do that. If you feel better with this, then do that. So Banshee was my next roller coaster in the list, but when I did it, I did Flight of Fear before Banshee, and the feeling of not knowing where you're going and the Flight of Fear launch all put together made me think I should have probably done Banshee first. So if you don't like launches again, I would probably try Banshee first, but I liked launches, so I did Flight of Fear, and that was more intense than I thought it would be. Flight of Fear is rough, Banshee is smooth. Just think about that. But if you like seeing where you're going, Banshee. If you don't like seeing where you're going, Flight of Fear. A lot of the times, seeing where I'm going helps me not get motion sick. But if you're having motion sick problems, then motion sickness, I would probably take it slow on these rides and work up to it a little bit more than your average person would. So this Banshee is if you like smoother roller coasters, are afraid of launches, like to see where you're going. Banshee is probably going to be the one you should take rather than Flight of Fear. And Flight of Fear is it's rough, it's launch, and if you don't like seeing where you're going on roller coasters, then Flight of Fear is going to be the one for you. These are both great coasters though, so make sure you ride them both, but it's just a matter, if you're scared of roller coasters, which one do you ride first? And yeah, so this is one that you should probably decide based on your personal experience with roller coasters. And then comes the B&M Hyper Diamondback. This one for me was probably the longest, it is the longest gap I had between moving on to roller coasters. From Banshee to Diamondback is probably the biggest gap in the park, it feels like, and it really does feel like it when you ride Diamondback. So for me, it took a while of riding other roller coasters in Banshee, getting used to those before I had the courage to get on Diamondback. But when I did ride Diamondback, I loved it. And some people reach their max with roller coasters, or think they reach their max with roller coasters, when they get to Banshee and they don't think they can ride Diamondback because of how it looks and how tall it is. Okay, but this think of it. It's Banshee's like 170 something, and Diamondback is like 230 with a drop of 215. That's really only if you take the bat drop and add it onto Banshee, that would be Diamondback's drop. It does feel a lot longer though. I will give most people that. So if you're really scared, this one, I would take a lot of time to warm up, and just warm up to Banshee and warm up to other coasters with bigger drops, and think you're getting used to those before you try and ride this. Because if you try and ride it too early and then you get scared of it and never ride it again, that would ruin your experience and that would not be fun. So make sure you just, like, you can tell yourself the best. So if you believe that you're ready, then you're probably ready, but if you believe that you need a little bit more time, then have a little bit more time. But there's also not going on it because of how tall it looks, and you always think you're not ready. You're gonna be ready after so long. You just have to get on it and ride it. So it's just about how you feel, but like, don't put it off so much that you never get the chance to ride it. Just ride it. Trust me, it's so fun. You're gonna love it. The first drop is scary, but once I got off, I was like, that is so fun, I'm doing that again. And every time now, I put my hands up during the first drop, so if that doesn't tell you anything, then I don't know what will. So then we have Orion, and this is the tallest roller coaster at Kings Island, if you didn't know. When you're on Diamondback, looking over to Orion, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm riding the exact same height, it looks like it. It is not. You can feel it on Orion's drop. It is not the same height at all. So, for me, I rode Diamondback once and went straight to Orion because I thought I was ready. I was, but I wasn't expecting what I got. That is an extreme drop, and that is like an extreme, intense ride. It is all amazing though. Once you ride it, you're gonna love it, and you're gonna ride it for life afterwards. But maybe you're not ready, and maybe you should ride Diamondback a couple more times, unlike me, who rode it once and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do Orion. Walked over to Orion, got on it, and that was intense, but it was amazing. I was ready before I rode Diamondback to ride Orion. I just didn't know it. But Diamondback and Orion's drops are a little bit more intense. I mean, a lot more intense than all the other rides in the park. And it is totally fine if you need a little extra time to just warm up to coasters before you do either one of these two. But definitely do Diamondback first, because Orion looks the same height. It is not. You can feel it on the drop. It is not the same height at all. Speaking from a person who is scared of roller coasters until Orion, it does not feel like it at all. Now I love roller coasters, and now I love the drop on Orion, and I love the drop on Diamondback, and they're amazing. Yeah, you're gonna get to it eventually. You just have to work yourself up to it, and I hope you do get to ride roller coasters if you're scared and don't think you're gonna ride it. You will get to it one day. I was always worried that I would never be able to ride any of these when my friends were, but I worked up to it and I got on it, and now they are my favorite rides, and now I have a YouTube channel about roller coasters. Yeah, so you're gonna like them a lot more than you think, just remember that. And if you get scared, always look at the people getting off the ride and see how happy they are, and just remember, like, every time you ride a roller coaster, you're always scared, and then you always end up loving it, unless it's like some rough ride like the Beast. But I love the Beast anyway. I just don't like how rough it is. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you're scared of roller coasters, I hope this helped you out. But if you like this video, leave a like, and tell me, like, if you were scared of roller coasters and how you were able to work up to them. And if you like my other videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, I have a lot of cool content coming this summer, hopefully. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I know Winter Chill Out was this weekend, so if any of you went to Winter Chill Out, let me know what happened and if it was fun or not. Let me know how it was in the comments below. And that is all. yeah, so have a good day, and this is Element of the Ride signing off.